Morning. 8 schools across New South Wales will trial extended hours in a research pilot that's looking at ways to maximise the school day better to suit students and parents. The pilot will run for 20 weeks across term 3 and 4. Participating schools will partner with community organisations, local businesses, sporting clubs, etc. to offer activities for kids outside of the standard 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. school day. Two of our local schools are going to participate, Spring Hill Public School and Orange High School. And the principal of Orange High School, Christy Anderson, joins me now. Christy, good morning.
Good morning, Ax. How are you today?
Yeah, not too bad. Christy, how will this work for Orange High School?
Well, look, we're extremely excited to be included in this pilot. What we'll be looking at is between 2 and 3 afternoons where we will offer extracurricular activities that are designed to enrich the curriculum and learning that goes on at school, as well as to enhance our students' interests and things that engage them. And we'll be running that from school after the school day finishes and leaving that open to as many students as possible to be involved. So we're very excited that the department has gotten behind and decided to include us as a high school out here in regional New South Wales.
When we're talking extra hours outside of school, just how many extra hours will this be?
So we're still refining the final details of what that will look like for our Orange High School students, but I'm assuming between, about an hour, maybe possibly more, just as an opportunity for students to engage with things that, contribute to their learning needs and interests, and as an opportunity to give their parents a little bit more flexibility with those pick-up times in the afternoon.
In terms of supervision, are the Orange High School staff having to supervise these kids after hours?
No, absolutely not. So our staff are absolutely dedicated and wonderful professionals who certainly have their plates full. One of the best things about this pilot is that really increases the idea of our school as a community hub and invites in professionals and people who have expertise in the areas that we're interested in, and we welcome them in to work with our students to complement the work that we do during the school day. We may have teachers who are interested in engaging in the program if they wish to, and they'll be welcome to do that absolutely, but we certainly won't be the ones responsible for delivering those extra hours.
So in terms for kids as well, it's not compulsory for kids to participate in these extra activities?
No, absolutely not. This will simply be driven by student interest, parent interest, and we'll be looking to tailor programs and activities that really drive at the heart of what our students need and what they're really keen to participate in. So that's one of the best parts about the program, the fact that Orange High can use our deep knowledge and understanding of our wonderful kids and design things that are going to best target them.
All right, well, Christy, I look forward to touching base with you when some of those details are more finalised. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for your time, Alex.
Christy Anderson is the Orange High School principal, one of 2 high schools in our region that's participating in this trial. I've also got Dr. David Roy, who's an education lecturer at the University of Newcastle on the line as well. Good morning, Dr. Roy. Thanks for joining me this morning.
Good morning, Alex. Great to speak to you again. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Look, Dr. Roy, what do you kind of make of this pilot?
I actually think this is a really good way to go. We have an education system of ours from 9 till 3 o'clock in most schools that goes back to the 19th century, to a legislation in Australia back then. And life has changed since then. We no longer have just one person working in a 2-parent family. We are a cornucopia, a mix of people with a really complex variety of lifestyles and working conditions. And this kind of thing creates opportunities for families, be them single families, complex, multifamily or 2-parent families, to really have their kids engage in learning in a fun way where it's their choice. So for what the Department of Education is doing here, it's a great pilot. It's really picking up on what many independent schools already do. But the better thing about it is that teachers who are already overworked and underpaid are not forced to do extra hours for no extra money, unlike, say, in many independent schools where it's part of their contract that teachers must take part in extracurricular. And we kind of know that extracurricular activities cause a greater engagement for kids within their day-to-day curriculum of 9 till 3. So I'm trying to look for the problems within this. And as the principal of Orange just said, teachers are not required to do this, kids are not forced to do this, but it's the school working with deliverers of these different activities to find what's best for their kids. So it's a win-win so far.
I guess in looking at this, though, I guess what's the benefit of the school being involved in, extracurricular activities? Because kids, even if they're at a public school and the public school doesn't provide the extracurricular activities, they still get a chance within their local community to go out and, do the tap dancing or the horse riding or whatever it may be. So I guess what's the benefit of the school being engaged this way?
There's two massive benefits I can see. Firstly, it involves the school further into the community, not a kind of an isolated silo that is just a building that kids go to and get kind of imprisoned in for 6 hours, that actually the community and the school are really engaging with each other. But from an equity issue, if this is not a cost to parents, and that's the one thing I'm really hoping remains the same, it breaks down that kind of equity divide, because for you to take part in extracurricular activities outside, it costs money. And in the current climate where we've got low wages and we've got inflation, families are making to make really hard choices, sometimes between food on the table and the mortgage and the electricity and the heating for the house, let alone these really important developmental activities such as additional creative arts. I'm biased, I come from that background, or sports activities, or history clubs, or in science investigations. And so if it's being funded by the department, it means that all kids have the opportunity rather than just those who've got the financial ability to extend themselves. And therefore, when it's the financial issue that makes the difference, that increases inequity. This hopefully will bring equity back together again. So again, I'm quite surprised the department has managed to do something that seems to be a win-win for all.
I know that quite often there is a fair bit of critique, especially when it comes to New South Wales education. Look, Dr. Roy, you're a parent who's got kids at school, and alongside being an education lecturer, a program like this for yourself from a parent perspective, is it positive?
Again, for me as a parent, it's really positive. I was going to initially speak to you earlier this morning, but I couldn't because I was doing the school run. If my son was able to say go in earlier, I would be more flexible in meeting other commitments or speaking to you with a coffee in my hand on the radio. And again, in the afternoon, I do the pickup as well. It's just what we do our family household. And sometimes he stays later in the school library. He's doing his HSC this year to allow me to work a wee bit longer before I pick him up. So this gives flexibility within families as well. And I just hope that it won't limit some families from taking part because they can't vary their hours that they have to pick up at 3 o'clock. But it's already working in some schools. And in fact, there's a school that starts at about 7:30 and finishes at 1:15 in Maryland with no lunch break to allow kids to flexibility for the afternoon. I know that Edmund Rice School down in Wollongong also has more flexible hours as well. So some of the independent Catholic schools already undertaking this. The longer-term plan, I know from the department, is to allow schools to actually vary the start and finish of the curriculum element of the school day in consultation with the community. And that's going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out.
Dr. Roy, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much. That's David Roy, Dr. David Roy, who's an education lecturer at the University of Newcastle, speaking with me there about this new pilot program. 8 schools in New South Wales are trialling extended hours, including 2 in our local area, Orange High School, Spring Hill Public School. If you're a parent who's got a kid at one of those high schools, we'd love to hear from you. 0467 922 684. Give us a call.